Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Sup? Hey, ladies and gentlemen. Drew Talk BJJ, Bernardo Tavalara here. Today we have Luiz Panza on our show. We're gonna talk about. He texted me and he's like, "Hey man, it's September, month of
September yellow.
September yellow, the month of what's the word?
The illness,
Yeah, illness,
mental illness.
mental illness awareness month, right? And many of you guys know, probably not that many people not close to Panza know, but he got he went through some hard times, suffering from depression 2 years ago.
Yeah, 2017, pretty much 3 years.
3 years. And so he texted me and said like, "Hey, let's do a show." I was like, "Yeah man, for sure, be amazing." And let people know, because a lot of people out there, they fight this battle, or at least they fight with the feelings and the things, but because they never had anyone close to them, so
Yeah, I think
they don't deal well with it.
the hardest thing is most times I went through that, and I've seen like so many friends that they went through the same after me, and then they talked to me about it. And so today is the first time that I open it up, and then I'll be talking about. And because the first thing is that the hardest thing is to accept what you have, that understand what you're going through, because most times we just don't understand at the beginning, and the prejudice from the others.
Yeah, because you think, because two things, right? Do you think it's because, one, so you're a fighter and you do all that, you think that the prejudice, and it's hard to accept being a fighter, it's harder because people look at you and be like, "Man, you can't be depressed, you're a fighter, it's like you're tough, you can't be," because people, they don't understand it's a hormonal thing, like hormones, things happening to you, instead of, it's not by choice, right? It's not a weakness of you as a person.
Not at all. It's
Right?
it's a chemical in your brain.
Yeah.
So when that changes, for so many things can cause that. Because everyone that knows me, they know that I'm not like sad
No,
at all.
yeah.
So I'm always joking around. You will always see a smile on my face, and that's why when that happened, the beginning was after the Worlds in 2017. Actually, that was a very good year for me. Uh, personal, like my personal life, I was like doing well. My career, I was doing well as well, and also after Worlds, I got third in the absolute division,
Yeah.
and then I got third in my division. So many people were saying like, "Hey man, you did well. You you should be happy with your with your well
Your result.
yeah, like my result." And I wasn't just happy at all, because I felt myself like ready, and I was in a good sequence of tournaments, and I was like my personal life, like my job, and my now like she's my wife, but I was doing super well at that time
Uh-huh.
with my wife.
Yeah.
And after that, I felt like kind of sad afterwards, but and then after a week, I was getting worse and worse, and then I wanted to just stop talking. I didn't want to talk to anybody, and I was just thinking like we always think, no, it's just it's just a time that after the tournament, it was so many, like so much work for that day, and that day went wrong, like in my mind,
yeah.
because I was working hard for the
win.
first
Yeah.
first place, not third or whatever. So if you lost in the first fight of the tournament or in the final, for me it's still lost,
That's the same thing.
you know. and sometimes it's even worse the way that it was. So
Yeah.
I'm not here to complain about whatever. Just the way that I lost wasn't my plan, but whatever. So after a couple weeks, and then I realized that I was doing everything in my automatic. Like I was training, I was teaching, and after everything I was doing, I was going straight home, staying in my living room, just staring the ceiling, not wanting to talk to anybody. And then the time was going by. I was going down, 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 down. I wasn't understanding. Then I stopped talking to my friends. I stopped talking to my family, and thinking that I, like as you were saying, like we're fighter. We think we're tough, and we think we can go through whatever. Because I've been through like so many injuries.
Yeah.
You know, like I got my leg broken half in 2015. I got like surgery in my back, both knees and everything. But I can say that none was like even close
Close to it.
to what I went through. And and then my thoughts start like being so accelerated, so my mind was going crazy all the time. And the more I was, and then I always had a problem to sleep. I think that was the most important thing that changed in my brain.
Yeah.
The insomnia started getting harder every time, you know,
Okay.
because I was always like training, and for whoever that spent like a week with me or just watching me, they always saw me training. Like I always had that in my mind. So if someone is, I think someone is training more than me, I will train more than him.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
and with less sleep all the time, like so much caffeine that was making it even worse.
Uh-huh.
And then my insomnia start getting worse day after day, until the point that I wasn't sleeping at all. You know, I spent like without sleeping like not even a minute for 11 days. And then
Your brain couldn't shut down.
yeah, and then I just like, then the anguish was like taking my whole like chest, my neck. And then because I had anxiety, but I didn't have like crisis of anxiety. I didn't have panic. I just had that feeling like for 24 hours.
Okay.
You know, the feeling that it was like hurting, it was taking my energy, it was taking my voice and everything. And I was feeling like the only way that I could stop the pain was killing myself. You know, yeah, you know, that sounds, this sounds like hard for someone that didn't go through that.
Yeah.
Understand it. Like, oh man, you're talking about like suicide. You're crazy, man. You're weak. So you're not weak. You know, I understand.
It's just the feeling that you're going through and it never goes away. So you're like that. You don't want to have that
You
anymore.
will spend the whole day waiting for the day to finish, and then you go to bed to sleep, and you don't sleep, and then the nights start being a hell. You know, you start being like, the nights were, for me, the nights were like
even worse
because I couldn't sleep. And then I went to, before I went to a doctor, because I wasn't sleeping. And after 10 days, after the 10th day that I couldn't sleep, I couldn't even like close my eyes, and I couldn't relax. And then that was when I started talking to my friends. Like I talked to you.
Yeah.
Actually, you were in Hawaii at that time. Yeah. And I talked to like the closest friends that we were training together. It was, I remember it was Leo, Buchecha, Felipe was around, and João was still training with us. And then that was when I told them. That was the first time I told them. I went like, hey guys, I'm just feeling this and that, and dude, I need help.
So it wasn't what made it you like really really worried is just like you couldn't sleep. It wasn't the feeling or the anxiety or anything like that.
Yeah, because I
You
didn't
you think you always had a little bit of it, so it was just like amplified a little bit. Then you're like, oh, okay, this I'm used to. When you saw that you couldn't sleep at all, and you're like, shit, there's something really wrong.
yeah. Because I was used to like 2 or 3 hours of sleep.
Uh-huh.
It was enough for me to train the whole day next day.
Yeah.
You know, it was I was very used to it, and that was when I asked for help. You know, I asked for help, like for my friends close to me
Yeah.
here in America.
In America, yeah.
And then I talked to a doctor, and then he referred me to a psychiatrist. I talked to the guy, and then he gave me a medicine
Mm-hmm.
to make me sleep, and another one, it was just an antidepressant. And then at the first time, I actually I had a prejudice, like, hey man, I'm gonna start taking like a psychotropic,
Mm-hmm.
but like I knew deep inside, I knew that was the only thing that I could do that could like get me out of it.
Okay.
You know, so I started taking it,
Mm-hmm.
and then when I started taking it, after 2 or 3 weeks, that was like when I went like to the deepest bottom ever. Because I was taking the medicine to
Yeah.
sleep. It was like a super strong medicine. And even with the medicine, like I was sleeping just a little bit. Like I couldn't actually sleep. I couldn't actually have like hours of sleep.
Uh-huh.
So
You just like drugged by the medicine, so you just be
yeah, I
like,
was like so grog, like spending the whole day like I remember I was training, I was getting like so much more tired than I used to, and like, and then instead of, and then after a conversation, then after that,
yeah.
just so I can
Yeah.
resume a little bit. I talked to my family in Brazil,
Mm-hmm.
and my mom is a psychologist.
Oh, okay.
And then she told me, like, you gotta come to Brazil. I'm gonna get you with the best psychiatrist in the sport.
Yeah.
You know, because it's totally different if you go to any psychiatrist that he takes care of like everybody else.
Yeah, like relationship and stuff like that.
Yeah,
right?
like a relationship or someone that
Okay.
gets so stressed in
Uh-huh.
at work or whatever. And the sport is totally different because the
Because for what I know, and for a little bit of your story that you said right now, it's even the right medication for the right thing, right? Like the right
Exactly.
dosage, and like you need to choose the right medication. Because I don't know if you know this, but my sister had it, right? A problem when she was a teenager. Then they gave her a medication, and actually the medication made her having it triggered the suicidal thoughts and things like that.
Yeah.
And later on, like she said that like 15 years later, they find out that with that medication to teenagers, it triggers the suicidal thoughts and everything. The trigger, that only in teenagers. In adults, it does nothing, but teenagers, it's really dangerous.
Yeah, about my situation, this one, because I remember when I was going through that. So I have like obsessive and compulsive disorder, you know, and it's not just like that kind of people that you have to like bend your arm like 3 times before you open the door. Not like that, but like I'm like so focused in something. Like if I want to do something, I get like so focused and I will do whatever to get it. And if I don't get it, then the frustration takes
over.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
So
but
then you went to Brazil.
yeah, and then I went to Brazil, and then I went with this psychiatrist. He was like a sports specialist.
Oh, okay.
And then that was when I started the real treatment, because he told me like when I went there, and then I had so many things here. I had like my work like the gym that I was working. I had to train. I had like everything else. At that time, my wife was pregnant, and it was everything happened at the same time. And but at that time, because if I talk today I can talk about it. I can talk about suicide. You can like hear that from my mouth like so many times, because that's the thought. If you're going through that, and if you didn't go through that, you will never understand.
Yeah.
You will never understand.
Yeah.
I remember when I was like at the hardest moment, and I was talking to someone about it, and then people like was saying, "Oh, I can't imagine." Like I was like,
No,
"Dude, you can't."
Yeah.
You won't understand, because actually that started like from day to night. Like, dude, that is like the next day I started feeling bad, and then it was getting worse. It was getting worse, and then like the anguish was taking like over, and then I was feeling so like words can't explain. But
Is it like mentally? Is it like a snowball because you get the thought, I want to kill myself or I want to commit suicide. Then that makes you even more depressed because you're like, man, fuck, I want to kill myself. That's so bad. And it's like then that starts like getting worse.
And then after a long time, because actually you try to handle by yourself. That's the first thing you try to do.
Yeah.
Then you go like, no, this is just something like, come on, man, I'm feeling that. Like, you go away, go away, and then it just doesn't,
It just got bigger and bigger,
and then gets worse and worse and worse. And then when I stop sleeping, and I stop, like, one thing that was good is just like, because I didn't stop my routine. Like, I didn't stop training, I didn't stop teaching, but I remember people were looking at my eyes, and then they were saying like, man, your eyes are just
that's something
amped.
weird. Yeah.
Just like, you're not the same.
Okay.
You just don't want to talk to us, or what's going on? You're getting arrogant, you're getting cocky, or what? And I went like, dude, just like, I just want to get out of here. You know, I just don't want to talk to anyone, because I don't have anything good to say. And I started like getting alone and alone and alone. And then the thoughts, instead of being like, that was coming like sometimes, it started being like, how I'm gonna kill myself.
So you already had, instead of being a thought, it became an idea, and it was like, okay.
Before it was just like, oh man,
maybe
I know
maybe,
that. I know that. But after a couple of days, you start getting like, oh,
how should I do it?
How should I do it? Fuck. And then it was the whole day thinking like, oh, this way, like how, and then it started being like, how can I make people suffer less if I go? You know? And then I went like, there's a building close to my house. I remember like I got on top a few days. Then I start staring down, thinking like, man, at least the pain is gonna go away. At least that. Like, I know people might suffer, but they will get over it.
Yeah.
But at least my pain is gonna stop.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's weird to say. It's actually, the first time.
The whole thing.
Like,
yeah, but the whole thing is for us, like for us, they're close to you. It's hard to listen to, because it's like, fuck, man. It's like you said, like you're always being like the guy that, like, even us from the team, like sometimes you're like, oh my god, Panza is too much, because you're always like every time, and it's like,
yeah. And
so I remember in Hawaii when you came in and you talked to me, and I was like, what? I was like, what the fuck? I was like, man, this is crazy. But I had conscience about it because of my sister, right? Exactly. So I was like, okay, shit. I was like, oh wow. But then it's like, even hearing this, like, you went to the building and actually like,
and it wasn't like 2 or 3 times. It was like a lot of times,
But what do you think? Because on that process where it's like, when you did, it's like, what made you not to do like the final step? It's like in the middle it was just one happy thought or one happy image that that
It's something that this thing is so like dangerous. Why? Because that takes all of your good things,
yeah.
all of your good feelings.
Mhm.
So you don't feel love, you don't feel happiness, you don't feel joy or whatever.
Mhm.
You don't feel, you just
It's
don't
like a
feel.
numb.
But your hate,
Mhm.
your like anguish, your like all the worst things that you can think,
Can't think. Yeah.
it gets over. It's just so weird. It's just like something that, like, I remember when that there was a day. So before I asked for help, before
Mhm.
I open it up to my family in
Uh-huh.
Brazil. I remember I went to the building at that time, and then I went like, dude, if I do this, and that day I felt like, if I do this, I'm giving up.
Yeah.
And if I give up, so there are people that they love me. I don't think
Mhm.
that would fair. At that day, I felt like I was like, and I remember at the beginning, I was still crying a couple times. And then after a couple months, I couldn't even shed tears anymore. I couldn't even react like of anything. And then at that day, I remember I talked to my mom, and then I went like, Mom, I just can't handle by myself. I talked to my wife. I told her like, hey, I know you're pregnant. I know you need me, but you need my best.
Yeah.
You don't need me the way I am right now,
That's not gonna help you at all.
because like I'm gonna be one more concern from you instead of being
Mhm.
like someone that's by your side, giving you all the structure that you have. And then she went like, even though I know that the hardest thing will be being away from you,
Mhm.
I know that you need that. And I know that we're gonna go through that together.
Mhm.
Their words like went to my mind like, I know that after that something is gonna change in my life.
Yeah.
Even though that time I was kind of blind, I couldn't see any good thing in whatever,
Mhm.
you know.
Yeah. No positive. Yeah.
And then I went to Brazil, and then I went to this psychiatrist, and then he gave me a medicine, and then he told me like, hey, I need you at least two or three more weeks here in Brazil, because of this kind of a medicine and this kind of a thing that we're gonna take care. It's like shooting in the dark, you
Mhm.
know, because it's different than you see something like a cut in your
Yeah.
arm. You see it getting better.
Uh-huh.
It's something that you're gonna take the medicine. You're gonna look at it. You're gonna see that getting better.
Yeah.
But when it's in your brain, when it takes the chemical in your brain, you
You
can't
don't know.
see.
Yeah. You have to have the time to
Yeah,
see
you
what
can't
happens.
see. And as you said, like,
Mhm.
I was always like a little happier than a normal people.
Mhm.
That
Oh,
they
okay.
call the euphoria.
Yeah.
I was always on that time, because actually, like, because of the choices in my life, like, I really like appreciate the life I have.
Yeah.
I'm really happy with that. Like the life I chose, like, of being just training the whole day,
Yeah.
teaching, being like now like with my wife and family, and it was in my friends as well,
Mhm.
because we're still friends.
Okay. Oh
And
yeah, I'm glad. I think.
then it was that was part of the disorder that I have, because I went
Oh,
from the
okay.
euphoria straight to the depression,
Mm.
because I've never had a bad day. Like, Do you remember me like
No,
one
yeah,
day that
no.
I was down? Like
No.
I was,
Well, like I just said, I was joking, but it's the reality because it's like that's exactly that. It's like it would be like Thursday, Friday. Everybody would be tired, and you'd be like, "Hey, hey, hey, pre-workout, okay, let's go, put the music on." And we're like, "Oh my god, dude, just like,
just
it's like chill a little bit, like 5 minutes, you know?"
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
but definitely, like now that you explain that, we that live with like every day with you training and everything, we
Yeah.
see that like like you said, like the euphoria of the
Yeah, the euphoria, and also like because of the that the the amount of training
hmm
that I used to do.
hmm
So I still train a lot. Like I still love to
yeah,
train, but I don't go more than 3 trains a day.
okay,
You know, before I used to do like 5, 6, like pre-workout in the morning, conditioning, then do jujitsu, and then teach for first class training with the students, then second class training again, and then go to do cardio, and then later at night go swimming.
yeah,
You know, I used to do this like every day. You know, and I used to love it.
yeah,
And but the problem is, and then that was making me sleep less and less, and
oh, okay,
and because of when you train a lot,
hmm
because of we're athlete,
hmm
and then we're used to hard training.
yeah,
So it's not about the intensity but the quantity,
yeah,
and that start increasing your cortisol.
oh, okay,
So the higher it goes, the more it start taking your endorphin and your oh my god, I forgot the name. Serotonin,
yeah,
you know. So those are the things that cause you pleasure.
okay,
So then you get to the time that when I went to a time that when I was training, instead of producing endorphin,
uh-huh,
because my endorphin production was just over. I didn't have any,
yeah,
you know. So instead of getting the good feeling, I start feeling bad things like hate. Like I remember there was a day that I was training. I was training with Bushesha, and then at the end he went like, "Dude, you looked at me like you were you wanted to kill me." Then I went like, "Dude, I'm just I gotta leave. I gotta leave." Then he was like, "Hey, dude, did I hurt you or what happened? What happened?" Then I was like, "Dude, just let me go, you know."
uh,
Then he went like, "Oh, Panza," and then I went like, "Oh, Bushisha, leave me alone, man." And then he went like, "Well, like,
yeah. T- but I think at the time too, like you, it was probably at the beginning. It was super hard to understand what's going on, right?
yeah." So
Like after you went to the doctor, probably like when he explained things to you, you probably like you could even like run a film like back to your mind and be like, oh shit, that's why this
yeah,
happened, or like this day, like you told me, like man, I was because of this was not happening. That day this happened, or like that day that
yeah,
happened.
yeah, exactly. So then I started understanding like, and then you start getting in a lot of paranoid,
Mm-hmm.
and one of those were like reading about like the instruction of the medicines,
Oh, okay.
you know. So and then I started I was spending day and night like 24 hours reading about all the medicines that exist. So I started with the psychotropics,
Uh-huh.
and then after that I started like reading like about like ibuprofen, and then like
Shit.
dude I was reading like about all the medicines that you can imagine. And then I started like just saying like, oh, I might take this, I might take that. But and then that was when I went to Brazil,
Mm-hmm.
and then the doctor was explaining me like just telling me why every single thing, and then everything started making sense
Okay.
to me. Cause like, oh man, I was training way too much. I was too worried about this because I was always like wanting to like train more and more and more and more.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't find a balance, so then I went to the point that I couldn't chill anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
You didn't have the recovery part, and
I couldn't sleep anymore. And then I tried everything. I tried medicine to sleep. I tried on my own, like just simple things like
Yeah.
CBD or like, man, I tried weed or whatever. I couldn't sleep.
nothing helped.
No, I didn't like anything. I was never like big fan of alcohol, so I didn't like to drink.
Yeah,
You know, that was a good thing
yeah,
because it was easy. Like then I understand so many situations of so many people that sometimes they go like, oh man, it's being hard to sleep, and then they start drinking so hard, and then they drink until they pass out. You know, at least that was a good thing that made me. I didn't do anything. Like I didn't drink, not even one day.
So you're more exposed to the problem. So you actually went for the solution that was actually the solution instead of being like you said, like people become an alcoholic or they turn to drugs and stuff like that. You know, you like
Yeah, because at the beginning, you will start searching for relief. You know, you want something to relieve. So I remember that I realized that if I take a shower, like at least when I'm like under the shower, I'm feeling like a little bit of relief. So I used to take like 7, 8 showers a day, you know, just to be in underwater. Like,
wow.
and then after that, like there was no more relief anymore, you know, and then when things started getting worse, and then I did this. I spent a week in Brazil.
Yeah.
And then I went like, all right, like you gave me the medicine, I'm fine. Now I'm gonna go, and then I'll go through whatever I want to go. And then I spent 2 weeks here, and as you said, most of the medicines, it's the common thing that people say, like it will get worse before it gets better.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and this is exactly what it does, and it makes you. Then I came back here, and then I spent the week here. And that was the worst week in my life. It was the worst week ever. And then I spent, at that time, I was taking like a medicine. I was actually taking a cocktail to sleep. And then I was taking the medicine to sleep, and I couldn't sleep. And then I was taking the antidepressant that was like changing because that start fixing things on your brain. But when we talk about something on your brain, it changes everything on your body.
Yeah.
You know, that's
like it opens and closes the receptors and stuff like that.
Yeah. And then I had to go immediately back to Brazil because the first thing, one of the things that my doctor said at the time, if you're gonna start this treatment, you can't be alone.
Okay.
You know. And it is like it is like for real.
Yeah.
For real.
Yeah.
Because once the thoughts, as I said, like before it was like just a suicidal thoughts, and then it was like, how will I do it? And then you think like, if I do it, and then you just think like, all right, I'll do it, and how it's gonna be.
Yeah. So like you pretty much went from like maybe I should do it to like I have to do it.
Yeah, like man, because of like when the pain takes over your everything, like your everything, even like the life just doesn't work anymore.
Yeah, even like you said, it's like anything that it's good ever feeling everything, and you see no good on anything.
Yeah,
it's
you
just
just don't feel. You just don't feel anything. You don't feel anything, and then I went back to Brazil, and then I spent a month being watched.
Okay.
You know, and then I took like a combination of a couple medicines that was like, that's why he wanted me close to him, because I was taking like 2 or 3 medicines to sleep, and I wasn't asleep. Or if I was sleeping, I was sleeping like 2 or 3 hours, and then the doctor said like, your insomnia, it's like chronic,
Mhm.
but at the point that, because there is the insomnia, the chronic one is when you just don't sleep anymore, and
Mhm.
then there's levels of it that when you take medicines and then you will sleep, but you don't have like a continuous sleep the whole
Okay.
night,
Yeah.
and then you get to the point that even if you take the medicine, you don't sleep, and then I was
Oh,
at
okay.
that time, I was at that point, and then I was taking a couple medicines to sleep, and then that was when I stopped eating,
Mhm.
and I didn't want to eat anymore. I didn't want to sleep. I didn't want to like. Then I remember like I was like weighing like 90 kilos,
Oh shit.
and I was like, if you see pictures of me, like, man, my eyes were like empty. It's just weird to say. Everything that I was touching, I was breaking. Believe it or not, like I was training with my students, they were getting hurt
For like nothing.
for nothing. And I was like, man, just fixing the seatbelt in the car, boom, breaking the seatbelt. I was like grabbing a plate, and then the plate was falling. Then I was like, dude,
Shit.
why what am I doing in here? What like I
Yeah.
just don't work anymore.
So I can't do anything right. Like.
Yeah, and then I spent that time in Brazil, and it was so important that the first thing, like, I spent the time with my family, because since I moved here to California, I never went back to Brazil. I went just to fight, like spending like a week teaching seminars like every day,
Mhm.
not spending like an hour with my family, and just coming back here and always working, training, working, and not caring about anything else,
Yeah.
being really strict, like training and diet, you know.
Mhm.
And then when I went to the point that like I was eating, like I had no taste at all, even if I was eating like the best thing, the thing that I most like, and then when I trust on that psychiatrist and I accept what I was having and what I was going through,
Mhm.
and that was when I actually like, okay, now from here, now it's a new beginning,
Mhm.
and that
Yeah.
was when things started changing. Because I remember I was going to the psychologist, and then I was just saying like, hey, there's nothing wrong in my life, you know, I'm where I want to be, I'm with who I want to be,
Uh-huh. Doing what I
doing
want.
what I
Like.
love, and it's just like this feeling is just taking over like my soul.
Mhm.
And then the psychologist was saying like, so let's get to the roots
Of
and
the problem. Yeah.
see why of everything. And I still like, I understand now. I understood how to respect my body more, like understand when I'm
Mhm.
getting a little stressed, like when I'm doing too much. And I still charge myself so much, like I always
Yeah.
think that I have to train more. But nowadays, like what really helped me was like being a father,
Uh-huh.
that really changed it, like changing my priorities, like
Okay.
thinking about like the whole thing. And then I start like doing everything, and then that obsession that I had in everything in my life,
Mm-hmm.
and then turned to get better.
Okay.
And the people that I thought like why not to do,
Mm-hmm.
they stayed by my side, you know,
Okay. Yeah.
and that made worth every single second.
Yeah.
And then when I start getting better, I start understanding how life is wonderful.
Yeah.
It's like sometimes we don't understand that. I remember I was going to the gym to the gym with my dad,
Mm-hmm.
and then I was doing just a simple machine, And then I felt that my body was producing endorphin again. Because I started feeling so good. Like I was doing a cardio. And then I started feeling so good. And then I went like, oh. Dude, I'm getting better. And then I called my dad. And then I went like, hey, Dad, look. I'm feeling so well. And then my dad started crying.
So that was the first time you noticed that the treatment was working.
Yeah. It was like maybe after like 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
Yeah.
Different medication, different.
It wasn't
the same medication or just
no. I kept the same
of
medication, and then the doctor like make a combination of medicines. To make me sleep. You know, and that was when I started sleeping again. Then I started sleeping like 4 hours a night. Then I started sleeping like 6 hours, 8 hours, until I get to the point that there was a night that I slept like for 16 hours straight.
Oh shit!
I don't remember in my life when I could sleep that long.
Yeah, I don't think I never slept that long in my life.
And then I woke up, and then my mom hugged me, and then she started crying again, and then she went like, I'm so happy. And then I went like, hey, Mom, come on, why? I'm feeling like I'm feeling like a lazy ass here, just sleeping that much. And then she went like, no, your body is getting back to normal.
Oh, okay.
You know,
Yeah, she knew.
Your
actually.
brain is getting back to normal because the most important thing in our life is sleeping.
Yeah, sleeping. Yeah.
Because that's when you produce so many hormones.
Yeah, everything like every single recovery and everything for your body. You know, even like for the sport, like you said, it's like from the sport amount, right? It's like people don't understand. It's like, oh, it's okay. I'm only gonna sleep this once. Like, man, no, it's like resting. And people say, and there's books and everything, but people don't listen to it. It's like, man, resting and sleeping and recovery, it's part of the training.
Yeah, it is. It is. And then I remember at that time, because the way I went home, my parents, they were like looking at me all the time, and I was feeling so uncomfortable. And after a couple weeks, I remember, and then I was trained. I was back to train like in Barbosa, my old gym back in the day in Brazil. And then I remember when I get that feeling again, and then the day that I put my gi on, and then I tied my belt, and then I start crying. I start crying, and I couldn't sleep. I couldn't stop actually. Mm-hmm. And then I was crying. And then I remember my friend Branco. He came to me, and then he went like, Panza, are you okay? And then I went like, bro, I'm so fucking good. I'm feeling so good. And then he went like, you're crazy, man. A couple of days ago, you want to kill yourself. And then I went like, dude, I'm just like, like I'm tying my belt. It's just like the best life I could live.
Yeah.
You know? And then I came back here, and then I start worthing every single second of life. Mm-hmm. You know, seeing everything, how every single thing is so important in life. You know, that made me worth every single thing, every single touch. Just like holding my wife's hand and seeing like how wonderful it is. I know that sounds like a little too much, but like but people say that when you went through the the
darkness,
deepest
and you see the
bottom of
light,
the darkness, when you see the light, you will worth the light.
Yeah,
you know.
Mm-hmm.
And then I start feeling everything back again, and my life changed like 100%.
Okay.
And after that, I started like respecting myself,
respecting your body, too,
understanding everybody else in everything. Yeah. So that's most times when people come to me talking about somebody, like any situation, I go like, we don't know what he's going through.
Yeah.
I'm not saying like that he's going through the same I did, but like whatever he's going through, he has his own reasons, you know?
Yeah. Well, I think the problem is like it's like those phrases and those things that people actually tell us and things like that. It sounds so cliche that it's like, oh, okay, yeah,
Oh
you don't
man,
know,
yeah.
yeah, it's like whatever. But like you said, it's like you live it, so it's like it's like man, you don't know. It's like you actually don't know, like because you're in the place that like nobody could relate to you. So even if you told people, or be like, people would be like, "Oh, okay, you said, yeah, get over it." People expect to be that simple.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, so
Yeah, and people like, and most people say like, I had depression, then I went to church, and then I got better. God touched me, and then I went like, all right, I trust that. I trust, because
yeah,
whatever you feel comfortable with,
yeah,
and then you do it, and then you feel a relief that's
yeah,
helping
yeah,
you, and
it's
I totally agree.
okay.
Like, and then when like it's good, like, because of the situation that I am and the things that are the most important for me. And I knew that in some situation I was going through that to help people,
Okay,
you know.
yeah,
And after that, I helped like so many people that sometimes I couldn't even like imagine that they were going to this through the same,
yeah,
you know.
yeah. I probably a lot of people are gonna reach out to you after you like, hopefully after the podcast, and we can, and hopefully a lot of people will listen to and they understand too. Sometimes it's like maybe they're on this not as big of a feeling that you are, but maybe they're starting to feel like the beginning. Like you said, it's like
Exactly.
on the beginning because, like any disease, the earlier that you see it or
The
you
easiest is
the
to
easiest it
heal it.
is, right? It's the easiest to heal, and I think on our community of like I was saying in the beginning, being a fighter and it's like being tough and having to train and things like that. And we're so used to, like you said, like small little injuries that you like, oh, I hurt my hand. No, it's okay. It's like
Yeah, yeah.
it'll go away. So I think we create that expectations from us, and sometimes like you said, like depression is something that it's not gonna go away. It's not gonna heal by itself.
Yeah.
And the problem is it only gets worse and worse and worse,
Yeah.
right? Because it's a chemical thing. If you don't fight with chemicals, or you don't, what people don't understand is your receptors from the endorphins and
Yeah,
everything, they
yeah.
close, and the medication opens and your body starts receiving.
Yeah, it's the same. It's
Yeah.
the same like a cast that you put on your arm in case it's broken.
Yeah.
You know, then that's what is the medicine. You know, it's just to support
Yeah.
what's gonna make your natural production. That, and of course, like in some time, if you have some type of a disorder,
Yeah, you always have to
and
take the medication. Right?
yeah, sometimes you have to keep it.
Okay.
You know, and that's my situation. Like I have to
okay.
keep a stabilizer
Yeah.
uh, that gets me like not like being up as in the up and down, because like that's something that now I understand. So now I have like some bad days,
Okay.
and I allow myself to it.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
because
We should all
before I
have
was
it,
like,
yeah.
oh man, I'm feeling so bad. Like, and then I was like, oh whatever, I have to train. You know, I have to train, and I have to train like 5 times a day.
Yeah.
You know, and it was like now I understand every single thing, you know. And it seems like, dude, everything that happened in my life, like for something good to happen, something bad happens first. You know.
Yeah.
And I think in everybody's life is
Yeah.
like that,
Probably,
but
I think so. Yeah. Probably.
yeah. And then after that, and that was when I had my daughter,
Uh-huh.
and that was another like trigger that a life changing in my life.
Yeah.
Because and then I became a father, and nothing was just about me anymore,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Yeah.
And then it was all about my kid, and then I had the second one,
Uh-huh.
and then my priorities changed, like from like water
one
to
he
one,
believed.
you know. And then of course, like I still train, like but
Yeah, but I think the most amazing thing too, it's like so people understand the time frame, right? Is because you did that. Then when you start getting better, pretty much like a few months after your daughter was born, right?
Yeah, maybe
Like
about seven months.
yeah,
My wife was just
just
fresh pregnant.
Yeah. So that's like, but even then, it's like
Yeah,
7 months.
Yeah,
But then your daughter was born. Then at the same time, like your wife got pregnant. Then you open your gym.
yeah. I opened my gym at the same time.
So it's like
I was still
it was a lot.
Yeah, I was still competing.
It was still competing, and it's like I remember because that was a lot for even for us. We're like, Jesus, man, it's like chill the fuck down.
And
It's
taking
like,
my family everywhere, because
Yeah.
people sometimes say like, man, you take your family everywhere, and then I'm like, dude, for sure that they're all I have. You know, and like I don't want to spend not even a minute without them.
yeah.
You know, and that's just what it is.
And we're like, chill the. It's like, what the hell? You want everything happen in your life so fast? Everybody from outside, we're like, Jesus, Panza, chill. It's
two
like,
years,
choose
two
something.
kids.
Have a family, then you open the gym. It's like, chill. You just had a baby. It's like you're having a kid. It's like, hey, and you're like, yeah, I'm gonna open my gym. We're like, what? It's
Yeah, but it wasn't like my option, you know.
yeah, no, yeah,
Yeah, like
but I think it was the
yeah,
it was
yeah.
a good thing. You know,
Yeah, it was a good thing for sure,
yeah,
sure.
You know,
I mean, even though how that happened
yeah.
was like one of the best thing
and
ever.
how fast that happened.
Yeah, it was everything so happy, so fast, and like I got really happy, and but it was like I had my plans, like my life plans were like before 30, I want to have like 2 kids, open my own gym, and like be a world champion and all those
All that,
things.
yeah.
Well, I was 28 and nothing
I was like,
happened
oh,
yet, and then I went like, it's time to work.
It's like, oh shit, I'm late.
And I was like, well, I waited too long, and then in 2 years, I had the 2 kids, the gym plus
shit,
the tournament.
It's like, oh shit, my plan. Oh fuck, I forgot about it. I was
Yeah,
like, oh,
yeah.
Let me go back to it. Well, nah, but it's great. You know, it's like I think now we even us like we see the difference how you are. Like you're still always the happy guy, always joking and doing the singing and everything. But I think at least how I see it, it's like we can see the difference of how natural it is today than how it was.
How crazy
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's like before it was like, so people understand, it's like it was like you're happy on drugs. You understand? That's why back in the day we were like, dude, chill the fuck out. It's like come down, you know? It was like excessive. But that's funny, right? Because it's like people don't understand. It's like probably that was the first symptom of like that was something wrong.
Exactly.
But because it's something happy or it's happiness or it's just like hey, haha, we think it's like no, there's nothing wrong because we're supposed to be happy, right? But I think everything on excess,
like the euphoria.
the euphoria. It's like anything on excess. It's something that's like maybe. But for us, we're just like. It's like whatever. He's happy. Whatever. He has a lot of energy.
So annoying. Like,
yeah, man,
no one is
oh my
that
God,
happy.
Yeah. Hey, people don't. No, it's man. I'll probably people are fucking listening to me. I'm like, what's the problem? The guy being happy. It's like, no, you guys don't understand. It was like now there's a difference. Now he's happy and he sings and he comes to the gym and he like picks songs and he's like, okay, let's go. But it's now we can see the difference to how it was and before it was just like. Too much, but it wasn't too much for you because it was you, and for us it was just like, oh, but here comes Panza again singing from the car, but now we're like, oh shit, maybe that was too much, huh? So it was like, oh, okay, now you're telling the story, we're like, shit, fuck, that was too much, you know, it wasn't a natural thing, it was just, but again, because it was happiness, for us it was just like, oh, okay, he's just happy.
Yeah, this illness is just too crazy. Sometimes you see people that they went to the peak in their life, like athletes, singers.
Yeah,
like,
famous people. Yeah.
They are like on top.
Mm-hmm.
And that just like get them.
Yeah.
And people think like, man, come on, man, this guy has everything.
Like everybody that got all the famous actors and people that suicide them and like they kill themselves. You're like, how the hell this person
Come
doing
on,
this?
he had everything.
But the whole thing, I think for them is like we're saying, like for you it was hard to not but hard, but like for you it was probably hard because you're like, fuck man, I fight and I do all these things and it's like now
Yeah.
a little feeling is killing me. Probably those people are like, who I'm gonna talk to, you know?
Yeah.
Because like we relate people being famous and having friends, but it's not reality, right? It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah. In the biggest thing at the beginning when you start feeling like that, you feel ashamed to tell people that.
that's happening.
Because before it's so normal to have the prejudice with that. Like if you go like, hey, man, this guy is sad, put him to train some jujitsu. How many times I thought like that?
Yeah.
You know, I don't judge because I understand. I used to be like that. Like people like, man, come on, this guy, look, he's always sad. Come on,
Yeah.
well, move your ass.
Yeah, you need to do something in your life. Like, stop being in your room and
Yeah, yeah. And then when you get to that point, you start feeling so ashamed. And then you start hiding from everybody until you get to the point that you can't hide anymore.
yeah.
And
Man, it's really weird. It's like because, like you said, it's like people hide, right? So it's like, and it's something that the most important thing is actually once you get the conscience of like I have something wrong.
that's when you want to hide.
Yeah, you know, because then once you were like you have the courage of, because if you think about it, suicide itself, it's the most selfish, weakest thing, but at the same time, is the most courageous and brave thing anyone can do. Because for you to kill someone is one thing. For you to kill yourself, it always like I always thought about it, I was like, man, it's the most selfish and weak thing that you can do because not like you did, like you didn't give up, right?
Yeah.
But you're giving up, but at the same time you're like you have the courage to actually kill yourself and take your life away. You know, but that's what people don't understand. It's like that's how big of a thing it is. And like you said, it's like you can't relate to this.
Yeah.
It's like how are you gonna, even if you sit and you talk about it, it's like, man, I can't relate to this. Because people think like rational, right? They think like, oh, you're gonna kill yourself. But
So that sounds so stupid.
yeah, no, it's weird because like you said, it's like if you don't have that feeling, one thing is like you being angry and be like, man, I really wish I could kill that guy. You probably on your life or someone would be like, yeah, I could beat up or like hurt someone. So you had that feeling. But to accept that in your body and your head or that feeling inside of you, it's something that you can't relate to.
Yeah. It's different to hear something like that, like
Yeah.
from you,
Uh-huh.
because you meant like you didn't go through that,
Yeah.
and like I went, and then like that's what most people say, like, man, that's the selfishest thing and
Yeah.
the weakest thing that someone can do. But if you were on the other side, it's like two sides of the coin.
Yeah.
Like, it's not about courage, it's not about weakness, and it's not about selfish.
Uh-huh.
You
Yeah.
know, when the pain is taking over, like your everything, your soul,
Uh-huh.
you know, you just think like, what am I doing here? Why am I gonna keep feeling this?
Yeah.
And you know that the only way to stop
Mm-hmm.
is doing it. You know,
Yeah.
that's the only way to stop. When I'm saying that when you're like the hardest time, when you're
Yeah.
going through when you're like in the deepest part of the darkness, you know.
Yeah.
But like the thought I have, and then I had, like, being a fighter and being tough,
Mm-hmm.
that was the only good thing, and the only good thought was don't give up.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
why don't give up?
Mm-hmm.
Because you're a fighter? No, for people that love me.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
because you just don't even care about yourself.
Yeah.
You just don't even care about life anymore. You know, that's like, you just want the pain to stop.
Mhm.
You just want to like get out of that help.
Uh-huh.
You know, it's like it's so strong and it's so powerful that takes your everything.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then I like but that's the funniest thing. Like if you understand that you need help and then you ask for help,
Yeah.
and then because at that time, like before, you feel ashamed to talk about it, and then you will start, like, when you ask for help and then you tell people what you're going through, people at the first point, they will like, hey man, come on, I'll help you, but they will never know what you need and the help you actually need. Yeah. So you need to reconnect it.
No, it's okay. Yeah, but but it, it's hard because it's like you said, right? Like you did it and you went really deep and you didn't isolate yourself, but at the same time you're like you saw that something was like, man, I'm not gonna be able. You recognize I'm not gonna be able to do this, right? And what people don't understand too, it's like it probably not. I don't know your case, but there's this really famous surfer, and I got the pleasure to meet him in person, and I was always a fan of him, Sonny Garcia, and he was depressed for many years, and he was open about it, and he was talking and everything, and he had he was active, right? So he was like, he had a life, he was surfing again, he was doing like triathlons and things like that, and for some reason, he was living, I think, in Washington with his girlfriend at the time, and he got into an argument with her or something like that, and he tried to hang himself, right? But then the wife and the girlfriend was like, "There's something wrong," because the way that he talks was like he was like on a respirator and stuff like that. Now he's a little bit like a vegetable, and he was in a wheelchair and he can't talk or anything like that, you know. And there's other cases of people, like there's this other surfer from Brazil, Ja, and I got to meet him too, and he was like the nicest freaking kid around. It's so weird because a lot of the times the people that have it, they're super nice, or they seem like, man, you don't see like a person that will have a problem like that. You understand? Like Sunny was like, man, pro surfer. Like I lived in Hawaii, surfed, stopped competing, so he was like still had sponsors. He was married to this like he had a girlfriend that was like top 12 shareholders from Google, so she was like a billionaire. Like he traveled to do whatever he want. And you have this other kid, super young, surfer, live like, you know, it's like if you think about it, you surf, you know, it's like you understand. It's like if
My reputation.
yeah, it's good.
It's a little stopped right now, but I'll get back soon.
Yeah, but you understand. It's like you understand how, man, if you could just surf and get paid to it, it would be like, oh shit, man, it must be a like, yeah, you know, because one, and this kid killed himself, and when it happened, people are like, all the surf community too was like, man, this is, but like, what happened? You know, and we have examples too, like Rob Williams, or like all the other people. They're like successful people. They're like having an amazing job and stuff like that, and you're like, from outside, it's like,
Yeah,
that you don't expect, like for you, right? It's like you said, it's like I was always happy, always doing everything, but then it's like inside,
so active.
yeah, so active, like doing stuff. It's not that you're like, oh, where's Panza? Oh, he didn't came to train today. He was having a bad day. You know, then like a week later you show up and you're like, hey, what's up, guys? I was kind of sad. No, you're just like being Panza
Yeah.
to like not being Panza, you know?
Yeah. You was like a, for people that see me every day, it was kind of shock, you know, for those who were training with me, because we always used to like finish training, man, keep talking like shit for hours, you know, and go like go to have lunch together, and then I just stopped doing everything, and but I think like the
did you got to the point that you stopped training?
no, no, I never stopped training. It was kind of training was always like a holiday for me, you know.
Okay. So you think the training actually the same way that probably affect you, like you said, like did the doctor explain to you?
Yeah,
You think what made you kind of like
yeah, because I think that the most important at that point wasn't just like the training, like particularly,
Mhm.
but the routine.
Okay.
You know, I still had stuff to do.
So it was something that you're like on the back of your brain, like I have to maintain my routine. It was not like I have to keep my life going, but like you're just so used to being like I have to train, I
Yeah.
have to do this, I have to train this.
Yeah, that was something that at some point helped me to don't go deeper. You know,
Okay, yeah.
because like, but I wasn't gonna going too far. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I was about to stop training. I was about to
Mhm.
like,
Yeah.
you know, but I think that the most wonderful thing of all of this, it was like the point that when you see the change and then when you start feeling like
The
trusting
happiness.
in the
Yeah.
treatment and trusting in the professionals,
Mhm.
you know, because
Yeah.
sometimes the first thing like you think the normal thing, oh you're if you need a psychiatrist, man, I'm not crazy. You know, so that's the first thing that
I'm not crazy. What are you
Hey,
talking
I'm
about?
not crazy. Who needs it? You need that, you know. Yeah, and
Yeah. 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 That's like
yeah, yeah,
we have to say it's a common mistake, right?
yeah, yeah. But it's mostly because of like the society that we live.
Yeah.
Like everyone think like that, and like we do too. Because
Mhm.
when you don't understand, if you see someone, because there's a difference of a depressive people and
Yeah.
then someone that's going through a
To
depression.
depression. Okay.
You know, it's like two super different things. Because there's gonna be the people that those kind of people that they're just sad. They're annoying.
Mhm.
That's like it's normal too, but like they are like that.
That yeah.
And then there's a people that it's actually sick.
Mhm. Having depression.
Yeah.
Okay.
And because of like there's a big
Can we-
difference between depression and sadness,
Okay.
you know, because and now I understand that
Uh-huh.
and I allow myself to like feel sad for something,
Yeah.
you know.
Sad is a feeling on a moment.
Yeah.
And depression is a
It's a-
chemical and imbalance.
Yeah, it's a sickness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A sickness.
And,
Okay.
and then it's like if you feel that and then you feel that you're getting better and then trusting on the professional, like
Mhm.
like looking for a good professional, because that's
Yeah, the
something
right-
that's
the right
super
professional too, yeah.
serious, like super serious. If
Mm-hmm.
you go to any
Yeah,
psychiatrist, it's different. But if you go to a good one, the one that is gonna guide you to the right way, telling exactly what you have to do,
Mm-hmm.
and then you're gonna do it,
Yeah.
because that's like your last screaming, you know.
Uh-huh.
Because when I asked for help, when I had to go to Brazil, and that was like my last chance. I gave myself a last chance,
Okay.
you know.
Yeah.
And it's like man, I got like goosebumps just talking about it. It's like
Fine, man,
it's
yeah.
freaking
deep, yeah.
serious, you know. And I gave myself, and then I went like, I'll try to. I'll if the worst happened, like I know what to do,
Yeah.
you know. And it was hard to say. It was hard because like I tried to hide even from my wife at the beginning,
Mhm.
but she realized like
yeah.
because we're very close to each other and like we feel each other like, hey
Mhm.
man, come on,
Yeah. What's going on?
you
Yeah.
know. And then when I opened it up to my family, like my family was like, man, 200% with me.
Yeah.
You know, I remember my brother was in Germany, and then he used to call me like couple times a day just to say nothing, you know? Because I remember he was saying like, hey, man, I really wish I could be by your side right now, but I can't. I know you just don't want to talk, but just don't turn off the phone.
Yeah.
And then I used to be quiet for like 40 minutes, and my brother was on the other side of the line, just like, hey man, you're still there? Yeah. All right, just know that I'm here for you.
Yeah.
You know? Like and I love you, and you're so important to me. So I just want to know that you're there. You know?
Yeah. But that definitely helped, you know. It's like probably at the time it was like you didn't felt anything or anything, but
yeah.
unconscious on your mind, it probably was like slowly like it was something that
Yeah. It's it was and I remember my wife used to go home like with food, making me eat because I wasn't eating anymore. And then after that, I started like working everything, and then I remember a couple months later, people were saying like, "Man, you look kind of little chubby," and then I was like, "Man, because eating is so wonderful." Like, man,
I always told you this. I told you so many times.
And then I
You always like, no, Bernardo, do this diet. I eat this, and after 20 something hours, then I eat this. I'm like, dude, I don't care. I go Opa weight class. I'll have my ice cream. It's like, you know, it's like,
I remember coming in home and then like talking a lot bit. Oh, we're training and you're fucking eating ice cream.
Like,
And yeah, it tastes so good. Like,
so good. See, something was wrong with you. I was right about
how was the training, guys?
Oh, you guys did well.
I gained ice.
Like 5 pints of Häagen-Dazs in the freezer. I was like, hey.
Yeah, but after that, and then I found a balance of everything. You know,
life's about balance.
Yeah,
man. You can be too extreme. Yeah,
and it's good. It's good because like, anyways, I'm a opinion former. You know.
Yeah,
and because I
can I say something? It's you're open informer. The reality of this, Panza, it's you're a survivor.
Yeah,
you understand? Because for you to go up in the building more than many times, like you said, and the only thing you just didn't jump, but mentally, you're done.
Yeah, I was.
You understand? So you're the case as the real survivor. You know, it's like you survived being suicidal and doing the depression and everything, you know? And how I see it, it's like people in the sport, again, it's like being tough and being a fighter and things like that. And people can get this misleading of like, oh, it's just because, like you said, like on the beginning, you're like, you thought it was a tournament, or you thought because you didn't train well or something like that, you know? And people think it's like, oh, what people going to think about me? You know, it's like, oh, they're going to think I'm weak or things like that, you know? And I think that's why it's so important to people to hear your story, and, you know, because of that, because, man, it's not every day to survive something like that and you be able to tell the story. It's, you know, because like you said, you went to the deep of the deepest to like, now you found, you're like, okay.
It's something that now in life, I'm down to help any kind of people that they need whatever, you know.
Yeah.
The same, of course, like a lot of people turned their back to me when that was happening, and that was just fine because at that time I didn't care about anybody. You know, at that time I just like, but after all, like I thought like, man, that was good. You know, everybody that turned their back to me, it was good. Like every single one, every single bad thing that happened, it was good because made me worth everyone that stayed by my side.
Stay with you.
And then like that made me just appreciate everything, appreciate every single day.
Yeah.
You know? Nowadays, like of course, even through the hardest times right now, it doesn't even compare.
Yeah.
to anything that I went through.
No, yeah,
And also
definitely.
like worthing my family, worthing my gym, worthing my friends, and like my training.
Mhm.
And
Well,
that,
but even like you said in the beginning, it's like holding your wife's hand. You know, like the small things. It's like
yeah, that's it. At that time, now like of course like you get
now
used
you
to
don't care
life
anymore. You
again.
don't like
Like
it.
no, I mean,
Say hello. Now I don't hold her hand
I mean
anymore.
like I can hold her hand, and sometimes it gets sweaty. You know, like
I don't like her hand anymore.
no, I mean, of course you get used to life again.
Yeah,
You know,
of
and
course.
you won't care anymore. But this transition was incredible,
Okay.
incredible. Because
Yeah.
I remember I at that time I don't remember feeling any smell of anything.
Huh.
Only like bad smell. You know, like oh, you're stinking one. For me, everyone was stinking.
People was like, "What are you talking about?" It's like, "Oh, it smells bad, man. Get the fuck out."
Oh, don't worry, it's my mind.
It's my mind. That's okay.
You're smelling so bad.
No, but yeah, but shit. It's like we're referring to like the darkness and the light, right? But it's like if you think about it, it's pretty much like that. You didn't feel anything, you didn't want anything, and then it was like when everything got better, you're like everything was to the extreme. You know, it was like
Yeah.
oh shit, and you're like oh.
Yeah. It was this transition is wonderful. This when you feel what life is again, you know.
Yeah.
It's so weird to say. It's so different, the feeling and the situation. And if you, man, I hope, like for me, I hope not even my worst enemy to go through that.
Yeah.
You know, I ain't saying that I have any enemies, but it's like
I don't know, man. You broke a lot of foot out there, you know.
I don't think I have.
You gave a
any
lot of
enemy.
footlocks out there, you know. It's like maybe
They were all super technical.
you hug a lot of heads too. Like you never know.
Yeah, squeezing the head. Sometimes I get hit it, but no. But
Yeah.
I feel like I don't, man. If you tell me like, oh, you want this guy to go through that, and then I went like, dude, no one deserves it.
Yeah.
You know, it's like it's way too serious.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of it's like any type of illness. You know, like the worst things, like whatever illness that that gets you towards death.
Yeah.
It's like, of course,
Yeah.
like in your the vital proportions, like you know.
Yeah, of course. But yeah, but like I said, it's like what really like it it's a really I don't know how to express myself, but like it's really weird and it's like wow, man, it really like blows my mind is how hard it must to have that feeling, right? Because like we were saying, it's like to have the feeling to take your own life. It's something that like at the same time that you had no feeling, you had bad feelings. But at the same time, after or during that, that's probably like it's so heavy that feeling it's man, it's like you said, it's like it's unexplainable. It's like I can't be like, oh yeah, man. Once I was sad for 3 days after I broke up, you know, with someone, and you're like, that's exactly
I
what.
don't
Yeah,
even. What I heard,
exactly.
what I heard the most was like, man, come on, Panza, man. I'm not even have time to depression. You know, like my life is so busy, and then I'm like, all right.
Oh,
All
okay.
right,
Maybe
all right.
that was my mistake. Huh?
I should get myself like more stuff to do.
More stuff to do. So I was doing not too much, and it's like depression got me. It's like
Yeah, that was like so like not occupied at all.
yeah. But again, right? It's like it's getting. Unfortunately, we lost a lot of famous people, and we're still losing to like depression and things like that. But at the same time, is
Yeah, I think
that opens the mind to people to realize that's like it doesn't matter what you have and who you are.
And also like I think that's one of the reasons that I'm here.
Mhm.
It's like it's mostly because of the society's prejudice
Yeah.
with that. You
Mhm.
know, of course, nowadays it's like the visibility and the constance of everything.
Yeah.
It's like a lot of people know about it,
Mhm.
and people, man, a lot of people are respecting
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
because that's this illness deserves
Mhm.
respect.
No, definitely. Yeah.
You know, like any other.
Oh yeah. No, but I think the problem is like people, the ignorance of people is because it's not a like a physical illness, so they think it's like, it's almost like it's your choice.
Yeah,
You
like
know, it's like it.
yeah, you're putting yourself in it.
Yeah, you're putting yourself in. You know, it's not like, oh, you got diagnosed. It's like it's not a physical thing, something that grows on you. You know, but like you said, it's like the more and more people know about it, and the good thing,
The less people is gonna go through it.
yeah,
You know, so that's why like it's really important like to tell people. And I know how hard it is to talk about it when you're
Mhm.
going through.
yeah,
You know, it's like it's so hard to talk about it, and you feel so ashamed, and people feel ashamed for
yeah,
you.
yeah,
You know, and nowadays, like after everything, and watching like myself, how I am right now,
Mhm.
and how I was before, it's like you said, like it was a little too much, you
Mhm.
know.
yeah,
And it was like it's good to everyone to know about it, to listen somebody that went through it,
Mhm.
to help people that, of course, like respect themselves and get to the
yeah.
point that they're not gonna need to go through it, or if started to go through it,
They can see it.
yeah, they will understand. They
Mhm.
will ask for help,
Yeah,
like since the very beginning, and then you will cut the suffering from the roots, you know.
yeah,
And like that's like the most important thing. The most
Mhm.
important is like asking for help and not being ashamed for that.
yeah. Yeah. You understand that's like just like any other illness.
Yeah,
There's
and
there's
also like
there's diagnosed to it, right?
and also the prejudice with the medicine, because
Mhm.
a lot of people think like, I used to think like when the first psychiatrist told me like, oh, you gotta take this, and then I went like, oh, wait,
You think I'm crazy?
yeah, like no, I went like, dude, this is oh, come on, man, my healthy people,
Yeah,
I'm gonna take this drug,
yeah,
like this type of a drug, like, man. And then you go to the point that that's the last option, you know.
yeah,
Then you really need that. Otherwise, like,
yeah.
you'll
Otherwise,
get
the doctor
worse.
was one
Yeah,
one get you to you.
exactly. And also like I understood that. And now if I can help someone that's going through the same, and tell them to like, don't be ashamed, you
Uh-huh.
know, ask for help,
Yeah,
you know. Asking for help is the best thing you can do in this
yeah.
situation, because you won't handle by
And people
yourself.
understand this like the asking for help. It's not like, well, it's not necessarily literally like calling
Yeah,
someone and be like, "Hey, help me." It's like, "Hey, man, I think there's something wrong with me."
exactly.
Right?
It's not like you can't get yourself like to feel like bad or down because you're asking for help,
Mhm.
you know. Because when I did, it was a little too late,
Yeah.
you know. I went like so deep, so
Mhm.
the at the time that I couldn't hide from anyone anymore.
Yeah.
And then it was a little too late. And when people feel this, if I can just talk about it and then explain and then tell them like, just my experience, you
Okay.
know. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna tell anybody what to do, but just
Mhm.
in case someone just listen to my experience
Yeah.
and see that and take that as an example,
Yeah.
you know.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
That's
better to talk to someone and look for someone or talk to a friend or a doctor earlier than
go
too
to
late.
the,
Yeah. Because, like I said, like you're a survivor. That's why I said that, because it's like you went to the point that it was, man, I don't know. Maybe, it was like, maybe if it was a little bit, if the day was a little bit worse than if it could be, you won't be here,
yeah, yeah.
So it's like you pretty much committed suicide mentally, and you're gone and you gave up, but you just physically, it never, thank God it never happened, but um so yeah, like you said, it's like you went too deep and you survived, and the talking and the spreading the word and people getting the conscience about it it's just not to happen, because maybe people are not going to be as lucky as you are, that you
Yeah,
found that one
yeah.
little thing that was like, hey, I can't give up.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's it's so serious the way that people need to understand that,
Mm-hmm.
and it's good to spread it around just so we can cut the roots of the problem
Yeah.
as soon as we can,
Mm-hmm.
And that's like really important for me, and it's really important for everybody, of course, but for me as a father, as a instructor,
Yeah.
as a husband, friend, and everything, of course, like a son, because that made me worth my family, like
Yeah.
my
More.
mom,
Yeah.
dad, and
Well,
brother, like my close family, and now like my good friends that they were by my side.
yeah. Yeah. I think, like you said, it's like once you start valuing and you see all those things, then you're like, whoa, wow, it's like, uh, again, it's hard to anyone to relate to, because even just the value of the life, if you're not to, it's not like you saying, like, if you just tell that part of your story to someone and someone just listen to those words, they're gonna be like, oh man, maybe that guy was shot 5 times, or like maybe he was in a car crash, it was like maybe he was in a coma for 6 months, then after you woke up, so it's like it's pretty much the same, like the same situation,
You were,
it's like,
I was alive, but I wasn't leaving.
yeah, yeah, you're like, yeah,
It sounded nice.
yeah. Yeah, it's like you're in a walking
You were
coma
there.
situation.
You were there, but you weren't.
Yeah, you're in a walking around in a coma. And it's like, yeah, man. But I'm it's kind of hard, because
I think it's the first time I talked to you about it like that.
no, yeah, like we only talk about it like small, like small conversations. Like you explained to me in Hawaii, but you never went to. I think because over there too, you didn't like. You're still in the transition of
Yeah,
like,
I wasn't that bad yet.
yeah, so you were like, oh man, I'm having depression and I'm like super sad, and I was like, oh, okay, but then I was like, oh, okay, yeah, because you never know, right? Because it's like you never know how deep the person is, or like what's happening, so it's like you said, there's different ways of depression, right? Like there's different, like, not different, I won't say different ways, but there's people that like they live with depression and they keep riding the wave and they keep going like, oh man, I'm sad, it's like,
because it's something that if you don't treat it like correctly, and you like, even if you don't go like the like that hard like I did, but people stayed with some traumas for the for the rest of their life, So if you don't treat it like well, if you don't trust in the treatment, or just trust, you start like take the medicine, you start feeling good, and then you stop the medicine, and then you go back down, and then you start taking. I've seen that so many times.
Yeah.
And so if you really trust the treatment, trust in the profession, it's the same way that people need your job, you will need someone's job. Like,
yeah.
And if you trust that and do that correctly, what's the most important It's the same like if you have any injury, if you don't take care of it, like you have problem like on your knee for the rest of your life.
It's gonna be chronic, and then
Exactly.
yeah.
And I've seen like so many people that didn't take care like correctly, and they are just not the same.
Yeah.
They're just like kind of
They
know?
never do the recover that you did. They saw how amazing things are and start having the feelings
So
back.
it was a good thing, like not going to bad ways, like I mean
Mhm.
drugs, alcohol, or
Yeah.
whatever. And because
I think
that's easy to go. That's a easy way to get out of it. Like, of course, like proportionally, but it was something good. I think like my focus always in like
on the sport,
doing
and
not the sport like first, but like on doing the right thing, you know.
Yeah.
And that was like and then I think the best thing was like when I felt the first feeling of like, man, I can get better.
Okay.
And if you have it's like a key, you know, like
Yeah.
it turned the key.
Well, man, Panza, thank you very much for like coming and telling your story, you know, and for the first time it was the same way that's heavy to listen to. We're glad that you're telling this, you're here to tell the story and let us know and bring conscience to the sport and to the BJJ community, and even outside, hopefully outside people from outside the BJJ community. You know, it's like they have, at least in BJJ, they have someone to like maybe even like not be so ashamed of to talk to, so they can like text you or DM you and be like, hey man, I think this is happening to me, you know, or like thing like that. Because again, like you said, it's like you can't relate or can't compare the situation if you've never been there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like, I really appreciate you being open about it and talking and being out there to everybody, you know.
Yeah, that's actually like now it's so natural to talk about it. If you ask me, if you tell me like, oh, it's easy to talk about, no, we'll never be.
Yeah, never be. Yeah.
But it's natural, you know. Now it's a different time, different situation, different time in my life, you know. And but it's my pleasure to be here. First time to True Talk BJJ.
Yeah.
It's thanks for those who are listening or those who watch it, and follow Bernardo Tavolaro.
Yeah.
He's been doing well, and I know he he's not a nice guy, but he's been doing a nice conversations here.
Yeah. Well, thank you again, Panza. Thank you guys for tuning in. Again, man, if you're going through something, talk to someone. You know, talk to your, even if it like, man, talk to a if you're ashamed of your family, just go to a doctor, or like, you know, and like find someone. You know, there's someone out there that you can talk to. You know, and
I'm not a good advisor, you know, but just to finish it up, if I could,
of course,
if I could say something, was listen to True Talk BJJ.
We have all your problems.
Whatever
solution for all your problems.
Whatever you need.
Yeah, we're becoming a. Well, yeah.
Thank you so much, guys. But jokes, beside the jokes,
yeah,
it's really important to respect yourself and understand yourself, and don't be ashamed and not even prejudice. You know.
Yeah.
So whatever you are going through or someone's going through, everyone has your own reasons.
Yeah.
And we're just here in life to evolve.
Yeah.
You know. And that's a process, and just enjoy the process.
Yeah, man, that's it.
You got it.
Okay.
All right, guys, thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys. See you next time.